Doom v Vamos v Vamos Epicureans. This is the BCE Comics Pod one-shot edition. I'm your host, Nick Smith, and I'm joined by...
Stojr from Stojr Shelf. How's it going, Nick?
I'm doing well. Particularly, I'm kind of proud of myself. We were just talking in between the last video and this one, and I didn't have my screen up for the intro, and I suddenly realized, oh no, we're recording. Am I going to remember my actual intro? But, whew, I did. All right. So we are participating in Kurtis Findlay's Epic Marvel Podcast Reading Club, and this one-shot is going to be our thoughts on today's issue, which is Wolverine number 3, Loss. Alright, so Wolverine goes on a bender with his new girl, Yukio. However, the Hand threatens Yukio to finish the job she was hired to do and to kill Wolverine, which she cannot do now because she has fallen in love with the man. Well, Wolverine, though, discovers that Yukio had been working for Lord Yoshida all along, and that she killed Wolverine's friend Asano, and so Wolverine has now turned on his new lover. Alright, Stojr, what are your thoughts?
This is fine issue. There are a couple things I bumped into. I like the cover. I think the cover's pretty strong. It shows that, where his mental state is at. I mean, he's put himself in a position where, he's not going to win his lover back. So you can understand that and understand why he's going on this bender, as you say. But on page 215 with him and her dance on the train tracks, it seems like they're trying to act like he's drunk, but Wolverine can't get drunk, or at least he can't get drunk for more than a couple seconds. So that he's falling on her and I don't know, it just seems a little odd for Wolverine because he just physically can't get that way.
Has that really been established at this point? I feel like this is where we're mostly establishing he has a healing factor. It has been talked about before, but it really plays into this one. But have we really established that he can't get drunk yet? I don't know.
It's a good question. I'm not sure because they probably haven't shown much drinking in the actual X-Men series itself. So yeah, I'm not entirely sure about that. And maybe that's the idea. Maybe it sort of gets retconned later, but as something to be retconned, and knowing where he's at later on, that bump into it a little bit. I think that Yukio's costume kind of looks cool. How it's just completely blacked out. They don't even Miller doesn't try and do any sort of shading on it or anything like that. When you see Spider-Man in his black costume, and page 221 has some good shots of it. We see Spider-Man in his black costume. It's almost never just black. It's usually black and blue because they need to give you some depth and shading and things like that. Here, Miller's just completely blacking her out because she's supposed to be this sort of
an assassin.
Somebody that. Assassin, yeah, somebody that operates in the shadows. I wanted to say spy, but that wasn't right. But then some of the other panels look a little weird, like 224, Wolverine jumping through the window. I don't know, just kind of looks a little odd. It gives me that pause where I'm trying to figure out the placement of everything, and it feels more like they're sort of setting it up to sort of pose the shot as opposed to something that looks good. And Wolverine falls into this trap, and the Hand have these arrows with the strings. I mean, he obviously gets out of it by the end of the issue. But beyond that, beyond setting up Yukio as sort of an antagonist a bit here, I'm not really sure that the plot moves forward that much in this issue. So I'm glad that this is a 4-issue miniseries and not a 6 or an 8, because you could see a potential where it could start to drag. But we're going to wrap everything up next issue anyway, and bring it back into Uncanny. What do you think?
Yeah. I thought it was a solid issue. I mean, I get what you're saying, that it feels like this is not really adding a whole lot. It's more just more firmly establishing the relationship between Wolverine and Yukio in this one, right? I understand the quibbles with some of the arts. There's other things that I think are worthy of highlighting, such as what we have up on the comic viewer, right? This page 225. Sorry. My new comic viewer, I think it doesn't cause things to crash so much, but it keeps bringing up the pop-ups underneath. I like that we have the lack of inking on this page, and relying on color and negative space really invokes that feeling of the nighttime. At the same time, it shows how the city is lit up by neon, which I think is really interesting. And we've seen that in some previous issues. That's not new to this one, but I felt like this page really kind of established that. And of course, we continue to get those really wide but short panels when Wolverine is fighting the Hand. I don't know if I have an exact. Here we go. On this page 228 to 229. Giving it that cinematic look of the ninja samurai fights. Just really fun action.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I mean, like the action scenes look really solid. But again, like if you go to 226 real quick, sorry, it was
It's
going to
okay.
be back a page when you had it up. I didn't mean to make you open it again, but like her crashing through the ceiling there, like that whole perspective shot, like it's similar to that shot in the apartments in the high rise thing with the windows. Like it's taking me a minute to like figure out like what is the structural integrity of this, like what is this building that we're leaping into? Is it like I don't even know where they're at here. Like
Yeah.
it's just a place with rocks and sand and glass. Like it's a greenhouse that's not in operation or something. Like just it looks really weird. And I do like what like they almost have like the crash lettering, almost like it's like part of the ceiling, like it's like leaning towards you. Like I think that looks cool, but like so it looks cool, but like it makes you pause visually and kind of like you're trying to orient like this stylized view to reality a bit, and then you just kind of have to let that go and move on and be like, all right, look cool and move on. I
Yeah.
don't know. Maybe I'm picking on that too much, but
You know, and maybe you're not. I know I have a tendency when it comes to reading comics that the art sometimes just flows into my brain and I'm paying more attention to the word balloons and the reading of it and not as much time on the art, which seems like a silly thing for a visual medium like a comic book. But I just kind of I know that about myself sometimes that the art does just kind of flow through my brain. So I think it's a fair criticism because yeah, it is that panel is kind of weird. In terms of the placement, I don't know if this was actually said, but it's a it's a Zen garden for some wealthy guy in the top of a high rise is the impression I had.
mhm.
So, but yeah. Any other thoughts?
No, good to go.
All
Look
right.
forward to the next issue.
Yeah, we'll actually make this one a shorter one. We intended for these one shots to be like 5 to 7 minutes, but we kind of consistently go over that, so we're gonna make it this time. All right, so if you guys enjoyed our thoughts, follow us on YouTube. We're gonna read, rate, and review a full big collected edition comic once a month, plus these daily one shots. Thank you all for watching, and we'll catch you again tomorrow.